Welcome back, everybody, and today we have some really exciting news. The PTR is now live, and what that basically means is that we can now do dungeon mutations. So what the dungeon mutation is basically we basically progress from level 1 to like level 8, I think. There's like 8 different difficulty levels. So as you progress, the enemies get significantly harder very, very quickly. And with that, I'll just go over a few things to kind of get you guys prepared for doing dungeon runs. So this will definitely help you guys out in making runs a little bit more easier. So the first things first, the circle is basically where the dungeon mutation is, right? So there's like a red circle going around, so it basically shows like dungeon mutation. We have weekly mutations. So this is our mutation, but it's expiring within a day. So this is the mutation right here. So this mutation, the Eternal, gives enemies may have the following perks. So these are things that the enemies have. Promotions, basically enemies may have the following buffs. And then lastly, the enemies, players have the following debuffs. So it's always good. You always have to read this. If you guys don't read this, you're going to wipe so easily. So the first one, we're going to go over step by step what each of these do. So enemies may have the following perks. So the first one, we have creeping. On death, they empower void damage, empowerment. So that one's pretty much an easy one. Oblivion, enemies may leech off of you for hit points. And then void resistance, very important. Any resistance, you guys really have to be paying attention and switch your gear accordingly. So currently I have void gauntlet. What I would be doing is that I'll probably like either switch it with a bow, a musket, or rapier or spear, and then that way I'm doing thrust damage, which won't make me do really weak damage. So because they're absorbed to they have a void absorption, I'm going to do a significantly a lot less damage. So if you are a void gauntlet user, this is what I really recommend you guys to do. I'm just going to put this back on. I think that was the one that I had. Yeah, so if you are a void gauntlet user, the way to mitigate this is that you have to do a little bit of research what dungeon you're running. So this is currently, like, I believe it's mostly like a corrupt run, which means that arcane will do the most damage to them. So I would just put that on there, and I'll do a lot more damage. So if you don't do that, you're doing a really weak damage, and you'll just not do as well. So yeah, that's definitely a way of basically mitigating that absorption, so that way you can maximize your damage a lot better. So after we got that out of the way, we have abysmal, basically doing like a percentage of all damage as void. And then we have paranoid, basically a 4 stack that deals greater void damage. So there's that. Then we have the buffs. So this is what the enemies get. So some of the enemies have vampiric buff, which basically makes them heal as they do damage. And then they have the phalanx. Basically, they block any player's projectile, meaning like if you're doing this, you're basically getting blocked. If you have a bow, it's gonna block. This is gonna get blocked a little bit. It's like it's a small absorption damage that they can block from you, so you're not doing as much damage as you really want. So keep that in mind. Always do a little bit of research, because that could be like a huge difference, right? So in your DPS. So keep that in mind. So definitely right now it's kind of looking like any like spear or rapier would be really nice to have. Range not so great, but like if you have like a spear, rapier, or sword or whatever, any of those melee ones will do quite well. So there's that for the buffs. And then lastly we have the curse. So currently there's 2 debuffs. So basically it's like an AoE silence that they have, and then like an AoE that actually takes your mana. And for some reason there's like standing, like so there's those type of like debuffs that you get. So yeah, you guys can so that's pretty much it for the curses. So all that really does play a huge role whenever you're running in any of these dungeons. So make sure that you guys read that, because it could be the night and day difference of you doing really good DPS or really bad DPS, right? So people want to know what weapons you're running, because they'll automatically kick you out, most likely when they get harder and harder difficulties, because they only want people who are going to do the most and maximum amount of DPS, right? So you have to really be paying attention to all that stuff, right? So yeah, like like if I'm running if we're running a group, I want the people to do the maximum amount of DPS as they possibly can, right? So I'm just gonna kill these tigers. So lastly, I'm going to be showing you guys basically the difficulty levels, right? So this is the difficulty of levels, right? So we have regular. You have to do the regulars, but there's like one guy over there. So basically regular, you have to do this before you could do the mutated, right? So mutated is just significantly harder. Yeah, you just go over the perks and you can kind of see what their resistance to what they do for damage and stuff like that. So there's that. You do get the umbrella, or basically I don't know how you say that, shard, which basically means that when you have these shards, you can upgrade your gear. So if you have 600 gear score, eventually if you get enough of these, I think you'll be able to upgrade it to like a 601 or something like that. So very, very important to be running these dungeons. There's the loot. Tier 4s are just useless, so that's just a given. But once I think when you finish it, you can get a 500 gear score, which can pretty much go almost up to 600. And then you get some of these shards as well. Weapon shards, armor shards, and stuff like that. So there's basically, it just kind of increases as you go along. You know, you get shards, you get more umbrella, and then once you hit the third one, you get basically the buffs, right? So the buffs is going to be very, very important to watch out for. So you just want to read what they're kind of like blocking. So basically spec accordingly, and then like just more and more gear, and basically keeps going. And then when you hit hard mode, they start getting cursed debuffs. You start getting debuffs, right? And as you progress, the perks also get increasing as well, right? They just go higher and higher, you know? So just keeps going higher and higher, and you can kind of see like how difficult it is. So yeah, they get significantly harder, right? So and more debuffs and stuff like that. But you know, you get a lot more rewards. You can see like 6,000 right there. This just doesn't change, but you get so much more gear. Like, it's a lot. So mind you, these roll also 600 and up, you know, so just keep that in mind. But I don't know if it's gonna really do that during the PTR. The PTR is pretty bugged out. So currently on the PTR, I got some 600 legendary staffs and stuff like that. You can kind of see the other video right here. The weird thing is that I don't have it in my inventory now. It's completely gone. So the PTR is very, very bugged. So keep that in mind when you're running these dungeons. You're probably not going to be retaining your loot because it's just very bugged. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, so very, very important just to read out like what you're doing, what the mutations is for the week, and keep that in mind. And so you have to always do the regular dungeon first before you could do the mutations, and you just level up from there. So but yeah, they do drop really, really good gear, and you can also upgrade your gear as well. So lots of fun. And then in the next video, I'll be talking about the point system. So the faster you run, the more points you get, right? And this will be very important in the next video. So make sure you guys hit the bell notification, hit the subscribe notification, because I will be posting new tips, trick, and guide videos. And yeah, the new point system is very key, and I'll kind of tell you guys how to run that point system. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys like it. Make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and take